My first guests tonight are co-hosts of Morning Joe, which airs weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on MSNBC. Here are Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski.
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to see you. There's a lot I want to talk to you both about. First of all, thank you for just surviving this election cycle. This has been pretty crazy.
Presidency.
It's been a crazy 4 or 5 years. So I think all of us are exhausted. We actually thought before 2016 we had told our boss Phil Griffin at MSNBC. I said, listen, after Hillary wins, this has exhausted us. We're going to take about a 2-month break. That never happened.
Never.
No. And I also want to mention congrats on your anniversary. Is it 2 years marriage with you guys?
Well, you know, it's very interesting to me. Yes, you say that. Actually,
I
know that.
I know that, too.
And you know that.
I know that.
But right before we came on the show, I turned to Mika and I said, hey, do you know what today is, honey? And she said, no, what?
No, come on.
Oh, my goodness.
It's our 2-year anniversary. She still doesn't know what month I was born in, so that's my birthday, so it doesn't matter.
When we did the show this morning and I said what the date was to everybody, something hit me that it was a special day.
You knew it was special.
No.
Yeah,
it was something about it.
Something.
Some of us knew it was special, and it really is now. Now it's doubly special. Congrats on that, guys. I love seeing you guys together. I love seeing you separately as well, but together it's unbelievable. It's magic. You guys were hosting a special Saturday edition. They kept adding these special editions of your show, of Morning Joe.
It just kept going.
And man, I honestly applaud you. Thank you so much. The American people, thank you for just being on the air. But you MSNBC made the call that Joe Biden had become president-elect. Joe, what was it like for you to make that announcement?
Well, you know, something happened to me that's never happened before in 17 years in television. I had somebody saying to my ear that Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of the United States. Our EP Alex said that. And I was supposed to, do the Brian Williams. We have just received word that, Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. I got Joe Biden is, and then I had to stop. Because
I got worried.
The last thing I wanted to do was have anybody hear any emotion in my voice. We were, especially since it was election coverage, I wanted to play it straight down the middle. Everybody knew that we were supporting Joe Biden over President Trump. But at the same time, the last thing I wanted to do was get emotional.
Start crying.
With a Cronkite moment, taking off my glasses. So I said, Mika? And she said, then she did it, did the whole thing.
Well, your work has paid off. MSNBC and your show in particular have been fantastic in the ratings. So congrats on that. If that makes you feel any better, but I don't even know if you care. At this point, you're like, we just want a weekend off.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like there's never been a slow news day during Trump's presidency.
There hasn't been. In fact, since the campaign. And as Joe said, we wanted to take, every time you want to take a break, every time you go take a break, it follows you. And now, literally in this pandemic, you cannot leave your job because it is there with you 24/7. And with this president, it has been one, after another.
Yeah, is this going to change the pace of all news shows in general?
I hope. I mean, don't you hope?
Yeah.
I'd take boring. We can't wait to be boring.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, though, actually, one of the problems over the past 4 years, actually probably over the past couple of decades, is that politics has become a blood sport. People turn to their channel.
You call it a shock opera.
Yeah, it is a shock opera. And people root for their team, root for their side.
I think we've been desensitized as well to shocking news from the presidency.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a long time to unwind this, no matter what side of this you're on.
Yeah, and both sides watch your show. I will say that, too. I mean, it's good to have the conversation with everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And I think, we used to go and give an awful lot of speeches to civic groups, and we just stopped doing it over the past several years in colleges because things became so intense. It used to be that Mika would get up and she would take the more liberal view. I'd take the more conservative view, and we'd have this really fun back and forth. And let's just say the fun has gone away a little bit in the past couple of years when it comes to talking about politics. Let's hope we can get back to a place where we can talk civilly about it again and at least be operating from the same set of facts.
Well, Jimmy, when the show started, so I was sort of the straight man, and then I saw myself on Saturday Night Live and realized what's happened over the past 4 years is we've switched roles,
Yeah.
and I've become the crazy one.
You know, the funny thing is everybody
He's
called
driven
us-
me crazy.
Not me, Donald Trump.
Do you think that he is going to concede? No, he's not going to concede, right?
Nope.
No.
We have a bet on this. That's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to
Okay.
win. And it's a lot because I bet I bet for a lot of money.
Yeah. Joe, why do you think that it's taken so long for Republicans to acknowledge Biden's win?
Yeah, I wish I knew. These people were my colleagues. I served with
Your
them when
friends.
I was young. When I was 30, I got elected to Congress, and I served with a lot of these people for 8 years in Congress, 8 years in Congress, and I've known them for almost a quarter of a century, and I just don't recognize some of them. I mean, these are people that we worked together, we fought the good fight together. We were used to, there were a lot of times when many of us were trying to run Newt Gingrich out of town and get and sort of leading a coup against the speakership, and we were doing it because we didn't feel like he was following his word, that he was keeping his word. And to see a lot of these people just sort of blindly follow Donald Trump over the past 4 years and say nothing when President Trump actually was talking the last 2 weeks of the campaign about throwing Joe Biden in jail, having his attorney general throw Joe Biden in jail. That's something that happens in Russia. It's bizarre. And I just kept waiting for my friends to speak up. And
You never
they
got
just
like a
didn't
little
do it.
wink, like a little Jack Nicholson, like Cuckoo's Nest, like
Nothing.
nothing?
Yeah, they all do. No, they will all give you the little wink off camera. And they go, oh, yeah, we know he's crazy. Yeah. But that really does none of us any good. People needed to start saying it on camera, and for whatever reason, they just couldn't bring themselves to do it.
There's more I want to talk to you guys about. Can you stick around for a couple more minutes?
Would love to.
Absolutely.
On and on and on. I said, and it's on.